Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Old Men in Chairs, and another in my series of what I'm decided I'm going to call Deciphering Dylan. Now, I've never been much good at reactions for hearing a song the first time. I think there are certain artists, such as Bob Dylan, that you do a disservice by trying to do a first time reaction because his lyrics are pure poetry and they need to be studied and understood and analyzed. I've been listening to Bob for going on 60 years, so I can't sit here and pretend, oh, I'm hearing this for the first time, because I've heard this song, Idiot Wind, many hundreds of times. Blood on the Tracks from 1975 is one of my favorite albums. I've already done one reaction from that, which is one of my all-time favorite Dylan songs, Tangled Up in Blue. Now, Dylan excels at venom. Not all the songs are that way, but when he wants to, he can let loose a tremendous amount of venom in his words. We saw that for sure with Masters of War, which Howard and I reacted to early on. And I mentioned at that time the song Positively 4th Street, which one of the most venomous songs ever. But he takes it to a new level with this song, Idiot Wind, which is pretty clearly written about his soon-to-be ex-wife. I know he denies that. He says, no, this isn't related to my marriage falling apart at all. It's pretty hard to read the lyrics and understand the lyrics without thinking that this song is written about a particular person that he was married to and the mother of his children. So this particular performance, you can see the Japanese characters on the screen. This is from a Japanese broadcast of what's called the Hard Rain concert. That concert was also released as a live album, but luckily it was also recorded for Japanese TV. But it's a remarkable performance of the song. Dylan really at the top of his form here on this tour in 1976, shortly after the album came out. As you can see, I'm going to put the lyrics up so you can follow along, and for that reason I'm also going to wear my glasses so I can read the lyrics. Even though I'm very, very familiar with them, I want to get them exactly right.
Someone's got it in for me. They're planting stories in the press. Whoever it is, I wish they cut it out quick. But when they will, I can only guess. They say I shot a man named Gray and took his wife to Italy. She inherited $1 million books, and when she died, it came to me. I can't help it if I'm lucky.
One of the funniest lines, I think, in any song, anywhere, anytime. It makes a good point, just becoming ever more clear about people planting stories in the press. That is pretty much all the press is anymore. A place where people plant fake stories and to try to convince people of their particular narrative. We call it propaganda. So Dylan was onto this early as a celebrity. He saw a lot of fake stories planted about him. But the one about took Mr. Gray's wife to Italy after he shot him, it's a pretty outrageous story. But then he says, I can't help it if I'm lucky. Very funny.
If I'm lucky. People see me all the time. I guess they just can't remember how to act. Their minds are filled with false ideas, images, and distorted facts. And even you yesterday, you had to ask me where it was at. I couldn't believe after all these years you didn't love me any better than that. So hey, lady.
before we go into the chorus, continuation of that idea that people don't know how to act because their minds are filled up with false ideas, images, and distorted facts. Well, where are they getting all those? From the press, from those planted stories, from that propaganda. This song, which is almost 50 years old, pretty much talks about the times we're living in right now. And when he says that even his sweet lady, presume it was his former wife Sarah, that even she didn't know what to think about him because she was taken in by some of these fake stories. And she had to ask him what's really going on. A sad situation, but not totally unbelievable.
You still know how to breathe.
Has anyone ever had such a caustic thing to say about their girlfriend, lover, wife? You're an idiot, babe. It's a wonder you still know how to breathe. I don't know anything more direct or more cutting than that. It's brutal.
I ran into the fortune teller. She said, beware, 'cause some lightning in that straight. I haven't known about peace and quiet now for so long. I don't even remember what it's like. There's a lone soldier on the cross, smoke pouring out of a boxcar door. He didn't know it, he never thought it could be done, but in the final shot, he'd won the war after losing every battle.
Now there's quite a bit in that verse. He doesn't remember peace and quiet for so long, he doesn't remember what it's like. But then he says, there's a lone soldier on the cross. Well, who could that be? This is before his Jesus period, but already he's got a little bit of a biblical reference there. And smoke pouring out of a boxcar door. Not sure what's going on with that, except we're in some type of a war. And he says, you didn't think it could be done. In the end, he won the war after losing every battle. A very, very famous line right there coming out of this song. Of course, the idea of winning the war after losing every battle is very old. You could go back to The Art of War a couple thousand years ago, or the idea of a Pyrrhic victory. You can win a battle and yet sustain so much damage to your position, your resources, that you're actually losing the overall war. This can be understood on many levels. On the personal level, he was losing every battle with his mate, but in the end he won the war. He got out of that relationship. Or it could be Jesus himself on the cross, who certainly lost that battle with the Roman authorities. But in the end, what happened? His word, his truth is marching on. And he won the whole world practically, even though he lost a few battles along the way. Very heavy lines here.
Losing every battle. I woke up on the roadside, daydreaming about the way things are really are. Visions of your smoking town shoot through my head and are making me see stars. Truth with lies. One day you'll be in the grave, flies buzzing around your eyes, blood on your saddle.
Now you notice he changed a few words in there, and I didn't catch them all, but perhaps the most significant one, instead of saying one day you'll be in the ditch, he comes out and says one day you'll be in the grave. He's talking about daydreaming about the way things really are, not sometimes are. And he's remembering her chestnut mare, which apparently maybe she did have a horse. You know, one day that horse is going to throw you and you're going to be killed or in the ditch. Flies buzzing around your eyes and blood on your saddle. That's a pretty heavy thing to be wishing on the mother of your children. The reason, and he says it right here, you hurt the ones I love the best and cover up the truth with lies. Unfortunately, I've been in that situation where you're separated and soon divorced from your mate, the mother of your children. When he says, you hurt the ones I love the best, he's talking about their children. And sometimes, and this could maybe work both ways, you know, but in my situation, in his situation, sometimes women can be very cruel to their own children and hurt them as part of that whole separation and divorce process. As far as covering up the truth with lies, they probably will deny it. When you're in that situation, it's easy to understand why you would feel so strongly about the other person, the mother of your children, because you're seeing the damage that's being done to your own children. There's nothing more painful than that, I can tell you. It's heartbreaking and it's horrible. People should always put children's interests first. Oftentimes they use the children as weapons.
Out on your saddle.
Let's just talk for a second about this vocal performance, because I've discussed this before and there's people that just don't like Bob's voice and they think Bob can't sing. Well, listen to this song. Look at all the emotion and expression he puts into his voice on this song. He's at the top of his game right here in 1976. And he nails his performance. You know, getting back to the words, he's come right off the idea that she had a horsing accident and was killed. He goes right into that. Idiot wind blowing through the flowers on your tomb. So now she's really dead. But even though she's dead, there's still the idiot wind blowing through the flowers. And then I think he said, instead of just saying your teeth, I believe he said your gnashed teeth. So he's improvising as he goes. And of course, people say, Bob never sings the same song twice. He never does it exactly the same as what was on this record or even this take on the record. He's always tinkering with his words and expanding and subtracting, and that's the genius of the man. He's just an ever-flowing spring of lyric invention.
There was gravity which pulled us down and destiny which broke us apart. You tamed the lion in my cage, but it wasn't enough to change my heart. Now everything's a little upside down. So matter of fact, the wheels have stopped. What's good is bad, what's bad is good. You'll find out when you reach the top. You're on the bottom.
Wow. Again, listen to that vocal delivery. I mean, he's really singing his ass off on this song. And what a classic line. Everything's a little upside down. As a matter of fact, the wheels have stopped. What's good is bad, what's bad is good. You'll find out when you reach the top, you're on the bottom. So he's basically saying to this former mate of his, you think you're doing the right thing, but you're not. You're going to find out someday that when you think you finally made it to the top, you've actually been a total failure. How do you really feel about this, Bob?
On the bottom. I noticed that the ceremony that your corrupt ways had finally made you blind. I can't recall your face anymore. Your mouth is changed in your eyes. Don't look into mine. Yeah, the priest wore black on the seventh day. Sat stone face while the building burned. I waited for you on the running boats near the cypress tree while the springtime turned slowly into autumn.
Couldn't quite fit the entire line in there. Final line, I waited for you near the cypress tree while the springtime turned slowly into autumn. He starts this verse, I noticed at the ceremony that your corrupt ways had finally made you blind. Not really clear what the ceremony is, although later on he mentions a priest. So perhaps some sort of religious ceremony that they were involved in, but he noticed that she had been made blind, basically. She couldn't see him anymore. She didn't look at him anymore. And the priest wore black on the seventh day and sat stone-faced while the building burned. The seventh day being Sunday, being the final day of the week, being perhaps very near the end of this relationship. And the priest just sat there silently, stone-faced, and didn't comment on the fact that the building was on fire. And then again, he waited for her, hoping that she would come back to herself, hoping that she would meet him. And he waited a long time by the cypress trees, so long, in fact, that spring turned into autumn. So he waited an entire summer, a spring, a summer, and into the fall, hoping that she would come back to herself and come back to their relationship. But no, it was over.
Still know how to breathe.
And the band is rocking out right along with them. Why they're wearing that headgear, I don't really know. The concert was in the United States. I believe in Colorado, perhaps, somewhere out west. He's talking about this idiot wind that blows from the Grand Coulee Dam to the Capitol. So again, with Dylan, he's never only on one level. You know, just like the lone soldier on the cross. Is he talking about his relationship with one woman, or is he talking about Jesus? Or is he talking about the press that's planning stories? Or is he talking about the idiot wind that blows through the Capitol of the United States? Well, we've certainly seen a lot of that lately. What idiots, what blithering idiots we have leading us. Pathetic. They're all bought off and doing what they can to line their own pocket. Never assume that you've got Dylan pegged.
I can't feel you anymore. I can't even touch the clothes I wear. Every time I come into your door, you leave me standing in the middle of the air. Down the highway, down the tracks, down the road to ecstasy. I followed you beneath the stars, howling for your memory and all your rage and glory.
Well, he changed up the words quite a bit in that line. Instead of saying crawled past your door, he said come in your door. I couldn't quite catch how he changed the rest of that line. I've been wishing I was somebody else instead. Anyway, you get the feeling he's still in the relationship, but yet everything has changed. I can't feel you anymore. He actually changed it. I can't touch the clothes you wear instead of the books you've read. But then comes his liberation. Down the highway, down the track, down the road to ecstasy. He was hounded by her memory all that time. But somewhere down that road, he's going to get away from her and he's going to find what he thinks is ecstasy. At least it'll end the pain. of what's been going on in this relationship that obviously is past its sell-by date.
Your rage and glory. I've been double-crossed now for the very last time, and I think I finally see. I kissed goodbye the howling beast on the borderline which separated you from me. You'll never know the hurt I suffered, nor the pain I rise above. And I'll never know the same about you, your holiness or your kind of love. And it makes me feel so sorry.
So this is the final verse. Very end, after about 6 minutes of venting his rage against this person, he actually comes to the point where he says, "You'll never know the pain I rise above, and I'll never know the same about you. And it makes me feel so sorry." He separated from the howling beast. He kissed goodbye to that beast, was on the borderline. So there was a beast there, and every time he tried to make the relationship work, there was a beast that rose up and destroyed it. And he finally gave up. "I've been double-crossed for the very last time, and I'm done. I'm free. I'm done. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to that borderline. I'm not going to fight that beast anymore." In that moment, he realizes, okay, to be fair, I'll never probably understand how you saw it from your side. You did have some kind of love for me at one point, and it makes me sorry, that it didn't work out.
Oh, sorry.
Did you notice that steel guitar in there at the end? Here's that amazing twist to this song at the very end, after saying for 3 or 4 choruses that she was an idiot. It's amazing she could remember how to breathe. At the very end, he admits, "Hey, we are idiots, babe. We're both idiots. And it's a wonder we can even feed ourselves." It comes full circle from this tremendous rant about all the horrible things that she did to him, to recognize, hey, it takes two to tango, and I'm an idiot too. It kind of redeems the song. Without that final twist, you would just walk away thinking, well, that was nasty. That was pretty negative. That was very, very hateful. But in the end, he takes the responsibility and says, I was an idiot too. And that's a hard thing to say when you go back and look at prior relationships and why they didn't work out. Whose fault was it? Maybe nobody's fault. Maybe, you both did the best you could under the circumstances. Don't you just love when Dylan vents his venom like this? I mean, there's nobody that comes close to really telling you how he really feels. Thanks, Bob.